Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's Michael Quirk here, and I want to talk with you today about 7 important signs of childhood trauma. What is childhood trauma? So, let's start off by saying that almost no one has a perfect childhood, but some kids have it much worse than others do. And that's because some children grow up in what I call high threat zones. They see and hear things that terrify them. They're small, they're confused, and they often have no big person who can guide, protect, or comfort them. These kids grow up and adapt to being around people that are mentally unstable, emotional reactive, and unpredictable. Or the adults are checked out on drugs and alcohol. Other kids find their problems out in the world as they face the terror and the humiliation of bullying, for example. And just like many other creatures in our natural world, these children adjust to being on their own in a world that feels big and bad. If it's hard to make a connection to what that might feel like, just think back to when you were little. Maybe there was a time where you lost your mom or your dad while you were out shopping. And what happened? You panicked. Your heart pounded. You got upset. You looked around desperately for somebody safe to reach out to. And you didn't know if it was safe to talk to any of the adult strangers that walked by. Everybody seemed so close and yet so far away from you. Maybe you screamed. Maybe you cried. Maybe you stayed mute, silent. Maybe you threw a tantrum. Now, I want you to imagine if you felt that level of fear regularly. And I want you to think about how it would affect you deeply. A childhood that's scary shapes your nervous system and your brain. It creates a body that's ready to defend itself or is adept at numbing out, ignoring pain, blocking it out, and disconnecting. What's more is all these body and all these brain habits develop at a time in life when the brain is the most vulnerable. The effect of childhood trauma can devastate even the strongest of men and women. These effects ripple through a survivor's life, fueling a range of problems which disrupt physical health, emotional well being, and interfere with academic or career achievement. Symptoms of childhood trauma in adults include signs that often appear as what I call body problems. In my work, here are some of the most common signs that I see every single day in my practice. Hypervigilance is the first sign. Now, for example, some clients walk in the door and they keep an eye on me. They are hyper aware of what I say and do. They're always watching. They talk with me about never being able to relax. And they just describe to me what it's like to always feel like they're waiting to be attacked. They talk about how they feel like it's not safe to relax or they're always waiting for the next shoe to drop. They talk about how they expect to be blamed and criticized, often out of the blue, for things that they don't know that they've done. Or they share with me how difficult it is to trust their partners, even if they've been together for years, and even if their logical brain, their thinking brain, tells them that they know that they can, that they don't have any evidence to distrust their partners. The next common sign I see is difficulty in relationship. For example, it could be that there's emotional reactivity that's creating stress at home, or it could be that avoiding relationships keeps them lonely and keeps them isolated. After this comes the next third most common sign that I see in my practice, and that's depression and problems with mood. Here I'm talking about a pervasive hopelessness or a repeating sense of worthlessness that flatten some adult survivors. They struggle in life and feel little motivation, little joy, little sense of meaning. Physical problems or somatic problems come next. Years of early life high stress take their toll on the body. And so insomnia and problem with sleep are sadly the norm. Many clients face immune system impairment. They deal with headaches, with fatigue, and pain symptoms. Similarly, medical doctors are also going to tell you that high chronic anxiety, chronic stress, and fear cause the most difficult GI problems. A nervous system and a brain that's stuck in high alert creates struggles with anxiety and with worry. And this can be a sign of childhood trauma too. One client of mine describes spending her days trying to bat away the constant worries that plague her. Another describes how he would unstick his brain when he could not stop dwelling on all the imaginary things that go wrong for him, that could go wrong for him. Fear of yourself and your body is the next sign. So many of the people that I work with tell me that they suffer with a sense of dread that's very physical, and that they have this worry, this fear that their bodies and perhaps their minds are going to betray them. Clients confide in me that they're secretly terrified, that they're mentally ill, that they're broken permanently, and that they will snap the way they saw their fathers or mothers snap. Or they fear that panic attacks or bouts of anger will overtake them. Now, I want to talk with you about healing the symptoms of childhood trauma in adults. So, after listening to me go over this probably or possibly quite depressing list, I want you to remember that we are living in a time when we know how to help people grow and learn. We know a lot about recovering from trauma. Recovery from the effects of childhood trauma is quite possible if you get the right care and the right guidance. Now, it's important to realize that not all therapy is created equal. And sometimes the wrong type of therapy isn't just useless, it's harmful. A therapist who has little training or experience or has no specialized training and doesn't know about how trauma affects the brain and the nervous system can unknowingly make an adult survivor of childhood trauma worse. It's important to work with a specialist, a trauma therapist who can guide you wisely and make sure that you don't spin your wheels and that you don't go backwards. And I'll say a quick word about a vague term here called talk therapy, whatever that is. Now, I say that because many clients walk in the door and they tell me that they've been in talk therapy for years, but they actually don't know what they've been doing. They don't know what they've been focused on, and they don't know the rationale for the conversations and the explorations that they've been having. And so um, the unfortunate thing is that kind of unstructured talk therapy can be quite harmful for some trauma survivors. Now, I want to ask you, after spending a few minutes today, do you have any of the signs of childhood trauma? Would you like to learn more about the kind of help that's available for you? If so, I want to invite you to please learn more by visiting my trauma therapy library. It's part of my blog on my website, www.michaelgquirk.com. Have a look at my writings, have a look at my videos. I've shared a lot about trauma treatments, recovery for trauma, trauma symptoms, complex trauma, developmental trauma, dissociative symptoms. Symptoms of childhood trauma in adults can damage your relationships and career, but the important thing I want you to remember is trauma can be resolved and trauma can be healed. So, final word. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it helpful. And please make some comments. I love hearing from people, and I love to hear your thoughts and your take on anything that I've said here today. Again, one more time, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.